Well, hello everyone. It is Professor Olander again, and I think I have my microphone issues sorted out. It sucks that those two uh, videos had issues, but it should be working now. I actually did some recording with nucleaires or nuclears, and I'm gonna go back and redo them because I've sat down and studied a little more with that game, and probably at some point in the next week or two I'll have some stuff up on it. So I did the first couple of legs of route. What route was it? 21? Yeah, 21 for Piedmont Airlines. And we're sitting here at RDU. This is pretty much where we were when we left. This is a few days after the fact, but the weather and all is about the same. Um, we're going to do this leg from RDU to Greensboro, and depending on how long it takes, I think it's only going to take about 30 minutes. We may or may not make the jump to Winston-Salem because Winston-Salem is not much further beyond that. Matter of fact, let me just look here. I'll actually pull it up because I need to put it into my Navigraph charts here. Let me bring this up so that way you can see it. So we are at RDU. I don't know why it's not showing me. There we are. So we're there. Greensboro is more or less right here. Winston-Salem is... Let me zoom out just a bit. I mean, I can actually do the search in... It's KINT. Okay, so there's Winston-Salem. So as you can see, it's literally Greensboro to Winston-Salem. That's only, I mean, just as soon as you get off the ground, you're right back over there. Why Piedmont Airlines did that, I have no idea. But I mean, it's literally you go up 2,000 feet, you fly over, you drop back down. I think this route was from like probably the 30s, maybe the 40s. So it would have been a wartime. I guess there just weren't enough roads up that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we'll just start a new flight. And we'll pick RDU. And then we're going to go to GSO. And from, let's see, that's only 58 miles. Generally what I do is every 10 miles I'll do 1,000 feet. So if it's 58 miles, we'll just go up to 50. We'll just go up to 5,000 and make it easy. The weather at RDU is altimeter's 3022. Now this is current weather, so I can't really go by that. I'm gonna say we'll probably use 23 left is the one that's closest to us. Yeah, we'll just go off 23 left. Of course, it's not in use. Then we can use 5 right. So let's do 5 right. And then we'll land. Let me see. See what the airport looks like. I mean, we could land here on 32, but I don't want to do that. It's actually not in use. So it looks like it's going to be 23. 23 left. And we'll go ahead and set up our approach. 23 left. We'll just use the ILS. And I think generally I will use the Liberty transition. And that would make sense for this flight. Actually, no, it will not. I'll tell you why, because I don't want to have to go up here and fly this pattern. So we're going to change that, and we'll just do the final. Or I guess we could do GSO. But GSO has a pattern on it as well. Yeah, it's got this weird thing. I guess I could take it out. We'll just use that. Because you go into Brant, you take you do a right-hand turn, you go up, you fly your procedural turn, and you come back in and you land. So we'll just not do all that, and I'll make sure that I change it when I get into the flight plan. But that's our route. Pretty much a direct shot. We don't need... I don't know. Actually, I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like that. There's no reason for us to have to go over, so we'll just use the final. And that takes us up here. And then we just make our turn, come down. That works for me. Alright, so from here, I gotta get my chart back up so I can see what I'm doing. Let's get into the cockpit and start our pre-flights. Now I haven't flown this in a little bit, so I'm gonna have to try and remember everything. I did actually fly the DC-3 the other day, and I have some recording of it. It's just kind of like what the last video was. I don't want to do that. I want the cart. Cart on. Let's see. Position light on. Bacon light on. Torpedo later. Let's see. We'll go ahead and throw the avionics on right now too. And we want main fuel tanks. And we want throttles slightly open. This goes to auto lean. Fuel booster pump on. Magneto's on. Let's see. Energize. And I'm just going through my little checklist right here. And mag on. Contact. Prime. And away she goes. We got oil pressure. Auto rich. For 1,000 RPMs, and that's probably going to be a little on the high side. There we go. Alright, auto lean on number 1. And booster pump, mag, energize. Let's go ahead and turn on our generator for number 2. And we'll switch over to battery, part off. Mush. And number 1's going. We got oil pressure and we got that. The only thing I didn't do was open up the cowl flaps. No big deal because it's actually fairly cool today. There we go. So we'll just open those. And I just did the auto set on the altimeters because I don't have the weather for today. This is a previous day. This is actually the day that I flew it the last time. Just to keep continuity. And I set the weather to something that's relatively close to what we had. Okay, so the altimeter is set. Let me go through the checklist. We won't do... Well, yeah, we'll do the run-up. We just as well. And I was dumb enough to not print these two-sided, so I have to constantly keep switching sheets. Okay, after engine start before check. Let's see here. Batteries on ship, GPU is off, generators. Let's see, the right one's on, the left one is not. Generators both on, avionic masters on, radios are set. We'll get those in a second. Gyros uncaged. We don't have spare gyro. Mixtures or auto lean, we're not going to do that. We're going to let it warm up. Fuel booster pumps off. Energizer switch is neutral. Mesh switch is neutral. Tail wheel unlocked. And transponder set and standby. So, what we are going to do, and I got to remember which my views are. So, coming back over here to the Navigraph chart. Where'd you go? There you go. So there's nothing really that we can use. We can use the Readsful ADF here. So let's go, what is that, 423? 4, 2, I know you can't see this, I'm just programming it into my radio. We can use the Greensboro NDB, which is 116.2, and I'm just going to put that in. And I realize you can't see this, just trust me. Just trust me. And we want the ILS frequency for, what did we say, 23 left? That's 109.3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one radio with the ILS in it, and one radio with the GSO. 109.3. And that's our localizer. And then what do we got for decision heights? 200 feet above ground. Yeah, 200 feet above ground, 1089 above sea level. And then our approach is going to be at 2900. And this is where you have to fly the pattern in. You go out, you do your procedural turn, and then you come back. That's why this is in here, because you're supposed to approach it from higher. But because we're only going to come in from about 5,000, we're going to not do that. So the intercept is at Brant, and if I look at the, okay, so there's our intercept, and then we're going to get onto our, we'll just call it, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll call it final. Turn to final here is going to be at Charlie Foxtrot 23 left, or 23 Lima, which if you were paying attention the other day, this is the same airport that I went into from the Raleigh Executive, which is right, where it's right down in here somewhere. Is that it right there? I think that's it. Yeah, there it is right there. Raleigh Executive Jetport. So we went from there to here. Now we're going from here to here, because this is part of the route, and then we'll go from here to wherever it is. It's right over in here somewhere. I can't, it's not obvious to me at the second. I don't feel like looking for it. So 5,000 feet is what we're going to climb to. Then, according to the plate, we are going to, we have to intercept Brant at 2,900, so 2,000 feet. We could theoretically go up to 6,000. Matter of fact, I think we probably will. Just because that's only 3,000 feet, 25 miles. Yeah, it'd be a flight. It'd be a short cruise, but we could do that. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll go up to 6,000. That sound like a plan? That sounds like a plan to me. All right. 5 right is going to be our departure runway. And I need to get you guys back up here so that way you can see. And I don't know what that did. I don't know if it showed my not Sephiroth, Vincent Valentine wallpaper or not. Actually, what is on my? Yeah, it's just Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII. If you've not played that game, you are missing out. All right, so that's what I said here. I said this is our localizer frequency. This is the GSO frequency, and then the 423 for that transponder. We're just going to go with 1,200. And what else do I need to do? I think we've pretty much got everything set up. If you were curious what we're doing for weight, you can see that we're going to take off it right at 25,000, which is just below our maximum takeoff of 26. So we are going to be using some flukes today to get up off the ground. And I'm just going through here. We'll do the run up. Why not? You only live once. What I do need to do is I need to program this thingamabobber. Yep, without closing my throttles. Okay, and I mentioned this before, and you may not have heard it because of the microphone issues. This is it's on flightsim.to. I think it is called Old Eyes for the GTN 530 is what the name of it is. And basically it takes a GTN 750 or 7, I think it might be the 650, and puts it into this. That way you can use it. So let me bring up my thing here so that way I can see what I'm doing. And we're in here, and as you can see, this is just how I keep my stuff set up. I don't use the distance on this one. I do for the DC-3 because I don't need it on this one because I have this guy, and this one will give me the distance. I'm mainly concerned about the wind, so it looks like we're going to have a 4-knot tailwind on takeoff, more or less. Alright, let's get a flight plan in here. We are going to GSO. I don't know why it said B. And we want to load a procedure. We are going to go into 23 left. 23 right. 23 left. Transition. The transition is going to be at Brant. And then that should be load and activate. And the thing we want to make sure is, let's see, yeah, all these USRs, they need to go away. Because I think that is our procedural turn. It is. We don't want that because we're not, it's wasting fuel. There's absolutely no reason to do that. Let me go back up here. Did it give me another option? No, that's it. I don't want to do GSO. We'll do Brant, but I need to get the it won't let me remove them either. But maybe if I do, there's got to be a way to remove one of them. I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's just do this. Let's delete this flight plan. Excuse me, I said delete. Yes, delete all waypoints. Are you not going to cooperate? I guess it just took the waypoints out. Alright, so we're just going to add it in manually. And let me pull back out here. So it's Charlie Foxtrot 23 Lima. So Charlie Foxtrot, where is 23 Lima. And it's going to be this one because we're not going to fly at 3,000 miles to reach the other one and then fly back. And then the next one is Brant. And that's that. And then runway 23 left. And that's pretty much what our thing is. And I can go in here and actually put in that it is going to be 2,900 feet. I'm just going to put in here at this one, we want to be at 3,000. And save. And for this one, we want to be at 2,900. Save. And that'll put, that just, all it does is when we go out here to our map, you see how it's got our constraints on there. Now, I don't know why it's flying us direct to Brant. Fix that. Let's see, we want to activate that leg. And there we go. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. Next rad should be on. I don't think we are going to run into any sort of oh, wait a second. It doesn't really matter. I don't think we're going to run into any. You know what? Let's roll the dice. We'll wing it. If we run into it, we run into it. I don't think it's going to rain, but anyway. All right. Let's just do the run up here. Just make sure there's no small children that we're going to run off of the runway. There is one thing that I want to fix here, and it's an issue because Flight Sim actually crashed on me a few minutes ago, right before I did this, and so I need to restart something so that we can have some ambiance. Okay, so they should start loading in now. So you'll see some stuff happening. All right, what did I say we wanted to go up to? 6,000. So let's go ahead and set that. And we're more or less where we want to be. All right, we're going to do the run up here because we can. Parking brake set, tail wheel is now locked. Fuel booster pumps are off, mixture is auto-rich, cowl flaps are open, fuel selectors on the main tank. To perform, throttle 1700 RPM. Propellers full range. Let's do it twice, but we'll just do it once. And magneto check. Just zoom out here. Right. Both. Left. Both. And right. Both. Left. Both. And throttle 1700 RPM, blowers high. Close enough. Looking for close to 30 inches. Low. Feather check. 2200 RPM. One. Number two. And let's see here. Fuel pressure. Get that here so we can make it legal. 15 pounds plus or minus 1. Verify oil pressure 80 to 90. We're just over 90 at 2200 RPM. Feather, defeather, carb heat, cold, hot, and cold. It's hot. Temperature drop. Cold. Raises. Hot. Drops. Cold. And 2700. And 600. Okay. There we go. And that's it. Off we go. Do. Let's see, tail wheel unlock, park and brake off. Didn't unlock on me. Before takeoff, can come in. Yep, wrong button. That one. That's the one. This rudder is touchy. Alright, pitot heat on. Anti-ice, don't need it. Fuel pumps or fuel booster pumps. We'll go ahead and turn them on. Make sure we're not going to run over anybody. Flaps will be a quarter. Rim set for takeoff. Propellers, mixture auto, ridge, carb heat, cold and locked. Cow flaps are going to be trail. Let's see. I have just forgotten what I was going to do. Alright, we can go ahead. Well, no, not yet. Let's go ahead and throw landing lights on. And oh, trim tabs. That's what I was going to look at. And we want that set to 0. 0, 0. Okay. Let's see. Flaps at a quarter. And that is set. And good on that. Good on that. Outside air temperature, we're about 20 degrees. Back on the center line here. I'm going to do what you should never do and step away for just a second. Check on something. Okay. Had an unruly passenger in the back. Okay. He's fine. I just threw him out the door. Ain't got no time for that. Okay, so let's see. We're 2,500. flight distance is probably. I think we're going to be okay. I think. Famous last words. Famous last words, I know. I'm actually looking for my speed conversions, which I had on my desk, and now they're not here. I mean, I can... Oh, there they are. Let's see here. Because I'm using knots on this airplane as opposed to miles per hour. The takeoff speed is between 85 and 110 miles per hour, which is going to be, we're going to rotate at about 85 knots. And let's see, let's just make sure we're not going to run anybody over. We're not. There's nobody coming in onto the pattern, so we're going to go ahead and line ourselves up. And while we're doing that, go ahead and get this set to trail and get over here. Wavy little runway here. Alright, let me make sure. It's kind of hard to tell in this plane. It's been a while since I've been in it. I just want to make sure I get lined up fairly decent. Because the wonderful thing about tail draggers is that you lock the tail wheel on takeoff and you can't really steer. Alright. It's the same as it was before. 45, roughly 45 knots. Tail's going to come up off the ground. We're going to rotate at 85. If anything happens between now and then, I'm going on vacation. You know, cross your heart, hope to die, stick a needle in your grandmother's eye or something like that. And I want to verify one thing before I leave. And that is, we are going to come off of this runway and we're going to take a left-hand turn to more or less 305. That's what I'm looking for, 305. Alright, let me get myself all comfortable and everything. I need my foot massager and all that good stuff. And let's go. This is a long runway. That is one thing I was wanting to look at, was the runway length, which is 7,500 feet. If we can't get off the ground in 7,500 feet, I don't need to be doing this. Let's go ahead on up to 30 inches. Let it stabilize. Parking brakes off. Oh, did I hit it twice? I thought I hit it twice. Airspeed is live. Full power. Tails up. Oh, this thing gets a little squirrely. It's got so much rudder control that it gets a little antsy if you put too much input in it. 80 knots, cross-checked. There's rotate. It's going to take off anyway. It was going whether I was going to or not. And positive rate, you're up. And looking for about 100 knots. And flaps up. 100 knots, meet toe. 46, 26. Over the threshold and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Keep her about 105 knots on the climb. And I'm going to call that meet toe. 36. Oh, I'm sorry, not me, to climb. 2350. We overshot our turn by a little bit there. It's the price you pay for not having a co-pilot. We're looking for. Actually, we were good. I'm just now. I'm trying to get used to not looking at the GPS, and I actually just looked to see that I thought we had passed the line, but we didn't. Trying to get back in the habit of flying by compass. So that looks like a good intercept right there. We're getting a little on the high side, or fast side is what I was trying to say. A little bit of trim. Trying to get this thing down to about, I want to climb at about 105 knots. And we'll get her up to about 3,000, and then we'll take the autopilot over. And now that we're kind of sort of not really trimmed, I can move the thing up here and do our after takeoff. Flaps are up, gears up, gear latch is down and up. Let's see, hydraulic selector needs to be forward for the autopilot. You need to quit doing that. Do what I want you to do. And what's next? Where are we at? Wrong list. Booster pumps off. That's the one I always forget. Quit that. 350. Trying to do two things at once. Bow flaps are still in trail. That's fine. Blower as required. I'm not going to need it. We still got the landing lights on, and we're going to leave them on. So reset my view here. Alright, 350. That's actually, it's technically not 350, it's 305. Maybe I'm just dyslexic, but anyway. Autopilot, vertical speed, we want to climb at about 700 at climb power, and we'll throw that onto nav. Let him do his thing. And let me just check here. It did say 305. I'm just stupid. It said 305. Alright, let me take a look, see here. What is our carb air temperature? Because I'm going to go ahead and start setting off for the climb. Carb air temperature is going to be -10. So what I want to do is -10. I mean, we can do 0. What's our outside air temperature? It's 10. We're not going to worry about icing. We'll just call the carb temperature 0. We're going to be flying at 6,000. So manifold pressure is going to be 29.6. Call it 30. I really do like flying this plane. It's just cool. It sounds cool. It looks cool, even though we're flying Piedmont Airlines. I mean, this thing was it's just a jack of all trades. It's one of the best planes that was ever designed. It's just sleek lines, stuff like that. It was built in the height of like Art Deco, that sort of styling. And there's still a bunch of these things flying today. They fly them up in the mostly up in like the Arctic Circle, places where it's hard to get in and out of, and you can't take a really heavy plane in there because they're big, they're heavy, they come in really fast. I mean, this thing's got a top speed 160 knots, so more or less 180 miles an hour. I mean, you can, if you've watched the videos, I used to be absolutely terrible at landings, but this thing, I haven't had any trouble setting the thing down. I mean, it's just a very gentle airplane to fly. Now, from what I understand, the controls are very heavy, and you have to manhandle the thing because it's all cable driven. Heard the same thing about the B-17, but yeah, I mean, these old planes are just kind of hard to fly to begin with, as far as controls wise. But once you get the hang of them, they're actually pretty easy. All right, so it's going to level us out. So let's do 30 inches and 2050. There's 30, 2050. 2050 outside air temperature is, actually it looks like we're down below. We're right at 10. What's the carb temperature? 0. Yeah, we're gonna put some carb heat on. Let's get that up to about 20. The reason why I'm hesitant is because we're going through clouds. Lock that. And I don't want to run the risk of any particular kind of ice. This isn't the exact date. I mean, it's not the exact weather. So it's going to be just a little bit cooler, and as you can tell, we've got a lot of updrafts, and there's actually some rain over to the left. I buy that. It's one of those days where it's humid, and you've got we're flying at about 6,000 feet, so we're kind of in that area where the conversion height and everything is, and because the plane's sitting here bobbing up and down, there's a lot of air coming up, so there's a very good possibility we're going to run into some ice. If we were a little bit higher up, I would be more concerned, but the general rule of thumb is anywhere between 10 and -10, you're prone to run into it, so better safe than sorry. I just want to make sure that the carburetors don't ice up. Okay, so as far as procedures go, we are 36 miles away from Charlie Foxtrot 23 Lima, and we are flying at a high altitude of 6,000 feet. We are going down to 3,000 feet. It's 3 times 5 is 15, 25 miles away. We're going to start descending, so roughly 10 miles from now, we are going to start going down. Short little jump down to eternity. And if you're curious why everything else looks different, why my map looks different from Bing Maps, I'm actually running the, what is it called? Make sure I get the name right. The MSFS Map Enhancer. And this is using the Google Maps. And you can see it's not perfect where the tiles load in. Sometimes they're different colors. But for the most part, it works fairly well. And we can sit back here and enjoy the view, the cloudy view that's now taken over. Let's see. Get a better view on this side. I hate the controls on this game. So yeah, nice little view here. I'm trying to see if I recognize anything. I think this is I-40. Pretty sure that's I-40. That might be 64. I think I can pull up a map here. It doesn't have the highway marked. pretty sure that is 40. Yeah, that's got to be 40. And then we'll cross over, looks like 85 here, and probably another, is that 85? I think that's 85. I wish that Navigraph would actually, I wish that they would put in like some kind of Google Map thing so that you can actually pull up stuff like that. I mean, it's got the FRA sectionals. I mean, not the FRA, the FAA sectionals. I don't have to deal with the FRA anymore. Alright, we're more or less 25 miles away. I'm going to go ahead and start us down. And I said 3,000 feet. So let's just set that to 3,000. It's actually 2,900. But we're going to go to 3,000. And I'm going to pull the throttle back to 20. Right about there. And let's see. Radio compass has not picked up the Reedsville VOR yet. And we have picked up the Greensboro one, haven't we? Yeah, Greensboro's on. And I've got 109.3. I need to put 109.3 in standby. That way when we get on the ILS, we'll have that all set to go. I have no idea what the landing altitude is going to be, or what our landing altimeter is going to be. So we'll just do that. Switch that over to high. I'm pretty sure the markers for Greensboro are still working. And I know we had a top of descent checklist. We've already had our approach briefing, but just in case, we are going to land on 23 left, and the approach altitude is 2,900 feet. We are going to intercept the ILS on 23 left at Brant. And decision height, as I said earlier, is going to be 200 feet above ground level, 1,089 feet above sea level. And landing data, ILS frequency, we just said that. Blowers as desired, we do not need them. Landing lights, never turn them off. Fuel boosters are off at the moment. And 10 miles before entering the downwind leg, fuel selector tanks were already on the main. Mixture, we'll get that in just a second. When we're about 10 miles away, we'll switch that over. Blowers are on low. Hydraulic selector, we're not going to worry about that right now. Landing lights are on. Fuel booster pumps, we'll get that in just a minute. Okay, so in about 10 miles, we'll go through the rest of that. Bobbing and weaving today. We have an 18-knot crosswind. This is going to be a fun landing. I was actually flying this the other day. Was it this plane or was it... it might have been the DC-3. I was flying it and the approach was like beautiful. It was like it was doing so good, and then all of a sudden, like right before I hit the ground, ground effect. So ground effect got it, the airplane lifted up, and then it went to roll, and it just, oh my god, it made me so mad. But got it now, didn't crash it. Let's just do some verification of thingamajiggers. We're still in trail, which is fine. We're going to need drag. Actually, if we've got a 13-knot wind from the southwest, that means we are going to be flying into a headwind. Man, I wish I could get the actual weather that's in game right now. Now, I'm going to assume that we're going to have about a 10-knot headwind. And the reason why I say that is because when our approach speed was going to be, our landing speed is going to be 85 knots. Is that right? Isn't that what I said? That's 70 knots. 70 knots, so if we've got a 10 knot headwind, we're going to land at 80. And I'm just going by the general rule of thumb. You add all the steady state and quarter to half of the gust. We don't know that it's gusting. I know that I'm going to at least put 10 miles faster on this thing. And just for information, runway 23 left at Greensboro is 10,000 feet. I think we'll be okay. All right, 15 miles away. Let's just go ahead and start our pattern. All right, fuel selector valves are on the mains. Mixture, we need to set those both to auto rich. Blower is cold and locked. Hydraulic flow selector is takeoff. That's aft. We'll get that in a minute. Verify landing lights are on. They are. Fuel booster pumps need to come on now. Like I said, this is the one I always forget. Tail wheel is locked. Yeah, it's in the forward position. I can just see it right there. 120 mile an hour on the downwind leg, which is going to be 104. And propellers will be 2250. I've done it before. So when we level off at 3,000 feet, which is going to be coming up here in just a minute, we'll put our propellers up to 2250, manage our speed, keep it about 105 knots or so, and landing gear. Yep. Okay. Basically, before, let's see, I'm gonna have to look at what the wind is like whenever we get there. I'm trying to decide whether I want to land with half flaps or if I want to land full. I'm probably just going to do half flaps because I think the wind's going to be pretty nasty at the ground. We're going to be at higher elevation, and pretty much ever since we got off the ground, we've been fighting with wind. So I'm going to say we're more than likely going to have a pretty nasty headwind. So we'll land at half flaps. Our landing speed, as I said, is probably going to be about 80 knots. So, this is your captain speaking. Hopefully we don't die. Yeah, you can definitely tell that we're getting up into the higher elevations because the clouds are getting lower to the ground. So if we do the leg into Winston-Salem, that could get kind of interesting. All right, where are we at? We are about 1,000 feet to go. And I'm actually going to, let's see, I'll set you at 700. I should have done this earlier, and I actually forgot. It's been a while since I've been in this plane. If we're more or less 3,000 feet when we get to our waypoint, I'll be happy. Main thing I'm worried about is trying to get this thing slowed down. Which, if this headwind is as strong as I think it's going to be, shouldn't be too much of a problem, but you never know. I have flown this thing where you have gone from, man, that crosswind is whipping now. Yeah, see there, the wind changed. It's almost out of the east now. Or I'm sorry, not out of the east, but the west. It was southwest earlier, now it's coming out of the east. Or, God almighty, I can't talk. It was coming out of the southwest, now it is coming out of the west, and it is 15 knots. Now it's 16, 17. So I'm going to say steady state's probably about 12, gusting 17 to 18. Yeah, this is going to be a fun landing. Biggest question is, are we going to be able to get this thing down? Let's just get it down to 1,000. I want to get down out of this mess. on auto rich. 20 inches on the dial. Airport is not in sight. It should be off right there, so now I have it in sight. Let's just make sure our altimeter is set. And coming on down, we're going to level off just fine. And when we make this turn, yeah, the wind's rotating. Now it's coming back out of the southwest again. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Alright, coming up on 3,000 feet. And we can level off. There we go. Let's go ahead and get our props up to 2250. Up there. That's going to slow us down in a hurry. Looking for 105 knots. And our turn to final. We want to go down to 2900 for the intercept. And speaking of intercept, 109.3 in both radios. Both have got it. And indicator is alive. And there's our runway right there. Let's go ahead and put us. Alright, we're good for landing gear. Landing gear going down. That will throw the brakes on this thing. Yeah, we're still facing about a 12 knot headwind. Really pushing this plane all over the place. This is going to be fun whenever I have to take it over. All right, 1 notch of flaps. Okay, you're struggling. You're drunk, autopilot. Go home. All right, I can more or less do this. I'm trying to do 3 things at once here. That was a strong gust. Okay, let me get situated here. Swap hands, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. Trying to get my view because the indicator is way down there. That's what I wanted. Alright, another notch of flaps. Get back on profile here and get situated. This microphone is like right over my right shoulder, so it is a bit of a pain. Actually, let me. Well, I can't move you. You're gonna have to trust me. It's a bit of a pain. Alright. We're still looking at 10 knots here. Get the mouse out of the way, that'll help a lot. Alright. A little bit of manifold here. Alright, we're on it now. We're just about to get to the intercept. Way low in all of that. I'm just going to get right here, and I want some right rudder trim. Some leftover on down. Oh, there's a gust. There's a bad one. That wind is killer, man. Even though it's only 10 knots, the wings on this thing are so big. So big. It's killing our speed. We got to get up because we are low. We ain't even got there yet. Oof. What sucks is that it's all over the place too. It's not just one direction. It's like coming from one way and then it's pushing me the other way. And because just a minute ago we were actually getting pushed this way. And now we're getting pushed the other way, even though the wind is coming from this direction. Side of this thing. Alright, it's not going to give me glide path, so I'm going to wait to see if I can see the happy lights here. Still low. Oh man, quit doing that. Alright, there's one white. I've got like almost full left rudder in and it's still wanting to go to the right. Alright, I can't see the pappy, so I'm gonna have to just eyeball it. I could see them until whatever that is loaded in, and now I can't see them. Alright, then start to subside a little bit. This way, not that way. I don't know what that texture is on the ground, but it sucks because I can't see the pappy lights. I think I'm alright. It's too bright. Get that roll out of this thing. I think I see a white and a red. That's my story anyway. Alright, quit that. Quit that. More to the right. Yeah, that looks good to me. Get over. Jeff Fabiano's going to be mad at us. Alright, there we go. Oh, hallelujah. Alright. Props to full. And they're up. Oh, quit that. Tail wheel's on the ground, tail wheel unlocked. I'm sweating over here, man. That was hairy. Alright, booster pumps are off. The other way. Cow flaps. And now the hardest decision of the morning. What's for dinner? Alright, I want the airport here so I can see where I'm going. Where do we want to park? I'm going to go this way. run through my little after landing checklist. Let's see, the tail wheel's unlocked, flaps are up, cowl flaps are open, booster pumps are off, trims, we'll get them in a minute. Pitot heat, we need to turn off, and the landing lights we need to turn off. And we have a plane coming after us. We're gonna park. We'll park it over here. Get out of his way. He's got places to be. So let's get back in here. And landing lights off. Pitot heat off. Position lights can stay on. What was the other thing? Trims. We'll get them when we park. Because I have to look down, and I don't want to run into anything. When we get on the center line, that's for anything. That's a thing. That's a thing that I should definitely be doing. Especially when you got these fancy planes over here. I don't want to hit them. Alright. We'll just park somewhere right along in here. That works for me. Something about like that. Okay. Alright, parking brake is set. The tail wheel needs to be locked. And I'm just going to do the easy way to shut down, which is kill the fuel, kill the mags, and the beacon off, generator's off for right now. We'll throw the GPU card on and turn the battery off, and it's going to tell me that, which I don't want it to. We're going to leave the avionics on and we'll just run off the battery card for right now. One thing I want to check and see.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Okay. Too small for my aircraft. Whatever. I just wanted to see if GSX was going to work. We can let the people off. That would be a handy thing to do. So let them get their baggage. While they're doing that, we're going to set up for the next flight because it's just going to be a hot little skip and a jump. And I'm actually curious. My landing rate on that was -96. I will be damned. I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse than that, considering how bad that approach got. Because it was, I mean, you couldn't tell how much input that I was putting into the stick, but it was like, at one point I had almost full right rudder or full left rudder in, and the thing was still going to the right. That's how much it was pushing me. Even though it was only saying that there was like 8 knots, it's like that was more than 8 knots. Because it was like, I legit had the rudder all the way over, and it was still trying to push me out of the way. So, fun times. Alright. Let's switch over to Navigraph. And we'll start a new flight. We want to go from KGSO KINT, and we'll take off from 23 left because that's what we landed on. Let's just see what's going to be the best runway to come in on. Based off of the wind, considering how close we are, I'm going to say that we probably need to come in on 22. The 22 is going to be our landing runway, and what do we want to do approach-wise? Doesn't even give me an approach for 22. How dare you? I do not want to come in on 33. That would be suicide. that wind would likely drive us off. How long a runway is this? Oof, that's a short runway too. We can do it. This plane does not roll off a whole lot. Yes. I told you he had places to be. Alright, so what are we going to do approach-wise for this? We need something. There has to be a waypoint. I'm not going to go all the way to prove either. Man, there is no marker here either. There's no kind of waypoint or nothing. It looks like everybody uses prove to line up and then come in. But, I mean, I guess I could use prove and then just fly straight down. But man, you're talking about adding another 20 or 30 miles here. I mean, I could just fly it manually around. I guess I can do that. I'm contemplating going in here. I know the wind is coming from more or less this direction here, so that's going to be a crosswind landing. So that's what we'll do. We'll just come in on 33. Even though I think it's going to be a pain in the ass, we'll just do 23. Man, the final for 23 is way out here. That actually works better for us, though. That gives us a much better approach to come in on it. So, Bach to Wuxog, and 33. Okay, let's go ahead and program that into the old computer. And we want to delete this flight plan. And we're going to go KGSO to KINT. And then we want the approach for 33. And Bach. Load and activate. And looking at the approach plate here, 2,500 feet. We'll go up. How long is the leg? There's no reason to go up to 3,000 feet. There's no way. We'll just go up to 2,500. The intercept is a Wuxog, it looks like. Yeah, Wuxog at 2,500 feet. And that puts us 200 feet above the ground. Okay, that's what we'll do. So we'll just fly at 2,500. And that's my story, and I am sticking to it. Okay, so as you can see, I've got all that loaded into the thing. The doohickey, the doomaflachi, the whatchamacallit. All but the 2,500 feet. That's going to be our target altitude. Make sure the altimeter is set. And throw these shut. I need to reset my fuel. I actually need to make sure we have enough. 37, 75. That gives us a total of 150. This is going to be... shouldn't be more than 20 minutes. We got enough fuel. We're going to pretend that we drop some people off. So we're... well... Let's go with that. We'll just say that we drop some people off. Some, I don't know, rich people that could afford to fly instead of get a taxi or whatever. Alright, that's all set. That was the one thing that I forgot to do, was I didn't do this. I'm not used to using them. Alright, those are still open. We don't need a hydraulic pressure. We do need to set the trim tabs. Back to 0. And deja vu, we do it again. We won't do the run up this time. This will be just a quick hop, skip, and a jump. We'll do a run up on the first startup of the day. That's all on. Beacon light on. Position lights are already on. Let's see here. We're already on the main tanks. Yada yada. And booster. Energize. Mags. Another jet. If you are curious what traffic injector that I'm using, it's actually the one from Fly-by-Wire, the guys that made the A320. There is an injector that comes with their installer that adds traffic, and that's the one that I'm using. It actually uses various liveries from like Just Flight and things like that. So that is what I am using. Oil pressure, auto rich, 1000 RPMs, left one on auto lean, booster pump on, energize, mags, a little high. Something that I need to figure out is, I don't know if it's anti-aliasing or what, but there's a ghosting effect that goes on that I have tried with different settings and I have not been able to get it to go away. I don't know if you saw it whenever that plane was taking off, but there's just these little artifacts that are trailing behind it. I've tried and tried and tried to get them to go away, and I haven't been able to do it. Did it start? Okay, it did start. Oil pressure, auto rich. We don't need to do the run up. Everything is set. Set this for map. And we're taking off on 23 left. Make sure I remember how to get there. Oops, wrong airport. That airport. Alright, so we need to go out of here, take a left, hang a left, and then go all the way to the other end. And then hopefully I can see the windsock on the way, because I didn't catch it whenever we landed. So buckle up. Oh, radios. What did I say the ILS frequency was? 110.3. I'm going to do that now. There we go. Okay, so that's in there. We don't need to worry about the ADR. We are, I mean, it's literally right there. You can literally see it off the end of the runway. Alright, altimeters are set. That's all set. We'll put the yoke back up so you can see. 2500. Okay, we're good. Off we go, Spanky. Tail wheel is unlocked. Shout out if you see the wind shot. Because I do not see it, and I don't think I saw it on the map. No, I don't see it on the chart. They may not have one here, which is kind of bizarre. There's usually one on each end of the runway. There it is. Oh yeah. It's moving. Looks like 10 mile an hour 10 mile an hour steady with some gusts. There should be one down on this end too. Alright. what did I say our takeoff weight was? 23,000. I don't think we're going to need flaps. We're like right there on the verge of actually needing them. And my checklist, if you're curious about what checklist I'm using, this is actually the one. Excuse you, I'm talking. Show off. Here I am with my two little piston bumpers. Let's see. What I was going to say is, if you're curious about what checklist I'm using, these are the ones that are made by JD. That is Jaydee. He's on YouTube. He's German. But if you go on flightsim.to, all of his checklists are there, and they're the ones that I use. I've got a couple of them. I've got the one for the DC-3, the one for the DC-6, the 737 by PMDG, and the A320 by Fly-by-Wire, which also incidentally works for the Phoenix. And I'm just looking on here. He does not have reference for takeoff flaps, and I had it wrote down and I don't have it. Actually, I might have it. Nope, I didn't write it down. I have a lot of documents on the DC-3, flight manuals. I've got some of the Army stuff for the C-47 as far as procedures. Another jet, but I don't see him. Of course, there are two runways here. I'm also looking for the other windsock, which I guess it's just got one. It's kind of bizarre. As long as this runway is, it's weird that it only has one windsock. Usually, there's one at each end. I mean, if you're coming in, you got to have binoculars to see that joker all the way down there. Alright, nobody's on approach. Little baby piston pumpers over here. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and start getting ready for this. So, landing lights on. Pitot heat on. I can't see. Trail. Now I can see. I really need to mess with the rudder. I'm using the slider on my what is this? This is a Thrustmaster HOTAS X, I think. This is the PlayStation version. I'm using the slider that's on the throttle, and I've tried to get the curve set so that it's a little bit heavier, but it's still just a little bit too sensitive. And the rudder control on the rudder authority on this plane is so strong. It does not take much. I try not to even use it because you can kick this plane around in such a hurry, it doesn't take a whole lot to kick it around. Alright, before takeoff, comms are set, pitot heat is on, ice is not going to be needed, fuel boosters are still on. I told you I'd forget them. We're going to not use flaps. Let's see, trims are set for takeoff. I just did that a second ago. Sorry, didn't mean to hit you. Propellers are high RPM, mixture is auto rich, carb heat cold and lock, cowl flaps are trial, landing lights are on, transponder on, tail wheel is, let me check, make sure. Now it's locked. And that is all I have to say about that. We're going to go basically straight off the runway. Well, more or less. Is that right? I hate when it does that. Yeah, I guess that is right. It's just this map is showing me something a little bit different than this map, the Navigraph map. So, all right, 30 inches, Spanky. We are going to err a little bit on the side of caution because we are kind of heavy. All right, 30 inches, roll away, and full fire. Airspeed is alive. 40 knots. Tail is up. Cross check, V1, rotate. Told it just to come up easy. Positive rate, gears up. I don't even think we used half the runway on that. Alright, there's 105. Right turn, if you please. You wanted to do it a while ago. Come on. There we go. I think the airspeed's trying to, the wind is trying to knock us around a little bit more. There we go. More or less on it. Alright, it's such a short little jump. We'll just fly this one by hand. Actually, no, I'm not, because this wind's going to beat me to death. Alright. Autopilot. You deal with it. Alright, let him do that so I can get this sorted out. I'm going to set cruise power, but I'm going to... Where are you going? My dude, where are you going? Reverse. I want nav. And altitude. Altitude of 2,500. I mean, 3,000 is fine. It's not the end of the world. I don't want to be there though. Alright, let's slow down before we... because we're going way too fast. This is the problem with not having a co-pilot. I'm just going to leave our props at 2250 because where are you going? You're like flying straight to Waxhaw. I mean, sure, we can do that. I thought that flight path looked, yeah, that's what he's doing. He's bypassing Blanche. I swear to God. Anyway, well, we're good. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Let me bring this down to 20. We're pretty much set up for approach anyway. 2250. Can I see the airport? It's going to be off from my position about 2 o'clock. Somewhere right there. You want to see how fast I can get this thing down? Because it's going to come in a hurry. Alright, gear down. This thing slowed down. It actually came on a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. That's okay. Pushing me now. Let's try and steer into the wind a little bit so it's not pushing me off course so much. There we go. There's 100 knots. Shouldn't have even engaged the autopilot. I should have just flown it. Get over here a little bit. Move my camera so I can see. There we are. Alright. Now let's turn. Is that it right there? Oh, man. There it is. Durr. It's like I know it's here. I saw it and then I didn't see it. The disadvantages of not having track IR is you have to move the mouse when you're trying to do 100 different things. Alright, let's get this thing down. Other than that, actually, I don't want that. Let's see, gears down. It is down, right? Yes. Never hurts to make sure. Don't want to belly land. Although this plane is capable of doing that. Don't do that. Alright. There we go. Much better. It's almost like I'm a professional. Not really. Alright. Wind is 8 knots. Pushing against me. So I think we're going to be okay. That looks pretty decent. Coming in at 100 knots. We've got a... We're just called a 10 knot crosswind. A little bit of butter into this thing and come on now. There you go. Alright, let's get some speed off. A little bit lower than what would be expected. Just try and get out of that wind. It's 90. That's going to be our reference. wants to get it on the ground. It's 90. Bring her on down. Sound barrier. Alright, there we go. Right there. Yes, I know we were left of center. I don't know what it is with this plane. It's like right before you get to the ground, it wants to go the other direction. Like I can be on the center and then it just wants to turn that way. Man, that's full right rudder and it doesn't want to turn. Okay. Whoa, 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 baby. I wasn't even touching it and it wanted a ground loop. Like I legit did not have any input in the controls. I just had the tail wheel unlock and it wanted a ground loop for no reason. This is the most trouble that I've had flying this thing in a while. I don't know if it's because of the last sim update or what, but it's behaving a lot differently. Because there was a sim update a week ago, and I haven't flown this particular plane in a week. Let's see. We'll park right here in front of the terminal. Actually, we're not supposed to go there. Where do I want to go? Let's go over here. Yeah, that is very strange. Like we were going straight and then all of a sudden the tail just came around. Which I had the tail wheel unlocked, but I mean when you get it on the ground, you unlock the tail wheel so that you can actually control where the plane's going, because the rudder's not up, the tail section is not up in the air. You have no rudder control over it. You need something. And it was kind of weird. But what I was saying is it never fails. Like I'll be lined up on the center line and then like right before it lands it wants to pull to one way or the other, and I don't know why. I've been able to get it on the center a couple times, but it just, there's something about this plane, or it's probably just me, it just wants to go one side or the other center, and it's random. It's like right before it hits the ground, it wants to push one way or the other. Alright, now that all the excitement is over, we can finish what we were doing. Pitot heat off. The boost pumps can come off. Alright. Actually, I bet I know what it was. So, I don't know if I can show it. You gonna stall on me? It's not gonna do it now, is it? Well, yeah, it is. So, this particular joystick that I'm using, I'm not touching the rudder, I'm actually using the flight stick. And the potentiometers in these things have a tendency, because they're very cheap, they have a tendency to twitch. And I think what happened, I've actually got the rotate locked, and I still get a little bit of input in it, but if I move, it's not going to do it now, but if I saw it doing it just a second ago, and I'm wondering if that's what it was. Occasionally, there you go. See how it's twitching? I'm just kind of moving it around. It used to be really bad, and I had to take the thing apart, clean it, and all that. But every now and then, like if I'm having to move the stick around a lot, the rudder will twitch, and I'm willing to bet that's what it was. But there's other things. This and a 10 knot wind. I've flown in 10 knot winds before with this thing, and it's never moved around that much. So I don't know what's going on with it. It's probably just being out of practice. I mean, I flew. When did I fly the DC-3? 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and I didn't have any trouble with it. So who knows? All right, kill this thing. I only had one generator on. That's fine. That's all we needed. That's off. Off. Position lights on. Beacon light off. Avionics off. And 10 minutes. Was not expecting that flight to be that short. Did they close? They didn't close. We'll pump up some hydraulic fluid so we can do that. And they should be closed now. They are. Okay. Alright. That's the aft position. That's closed. These are off. Forward. All that good stuff. And I think I guess I forgot to turn that off. Yep, we're good to go. So that is, what is it? That's the 5th leg. Actually, I'm gonna get the sheet. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 6th leg. There are 3 left, which will be the Tri-City Airport at Bristol, and then Lexington, Kentucky, and then CVG in Cincinnati. And if you're curious, I actually have I've started flying Route 15 with the DC-6, and I just did the first leg from Wilmington to Southern Pines. The next leg will be from Southern Pines to Charlotte, from Charlotte to Cavill, which, let me look on Navigraph, which one was Cavill? Cavill's Asheville. And then Tri-Cities in Bristol, Lexington, and Louisville. So that's the stuff for it. And in the middle of all that, because I'm taking a break from railroads for a while because I did that for the better portion of my life, and I need a break from choo-choo trains, real or otherwise. Flights have been kind of the thing. I've actually been flying the hell out of this thing. I can't show you the logbook without at this particular moment, but I have actually been flying this plane a lot since June. I've been flying the DC-6 a lot since June, and the 737 and the A320, and it's just been, it's a very chill thing to do. Some people may like it, some people may not, but this is what I do. For the next 3 legs, it'll be just like the last video where it's basically just the highlights. It won't be a fly along. The next DC-6 one will be. It'll be from Southern Pines to Charlotte. The first one will have the leg from Wilmington to Southern Pines to Charlotte, and then I will fly I'll do just like I did with this one, the leg from Charlotte to Asheville, and then the last 3 legs, the last 4 legs, Asheville to Bristol to Lexington to Louisville. I might fly the Lexington to Louisville because that's a short hop. I think that's maybe 100 miles. I think. And then I mentioned earlier Nucleares, which is on Steam. It's a interesting little game. You run a nuclear reactor. It's very much in early access. There's a lot of weird little quirks that it has to it, but it's a one-man crew, and I kind of got obsessed with it. I'm going to do a video on it very soon. Like I said, I shot some stuff last week. I actually sat down for like 2 or 3 hours, went through and explained some of the systems on it, and now that I've had more time to mess around with it, I want to go back and redo it because some things in that game don't work exactly how you'd expect them to. So that's what's hopefully coming up, and then at some point I need to do some stuff on it in Source Filmmaker. But that's going to come a little bit later because my work schedule has been kind of crazy. So that is it for now, and we will fly again very soon. Later.